Farouk Occitan from Cryptolina. And Cryptolina is going to be in August. I think, what's the exact date? August, what, 15th?
15th and 16th.
That's right. And yeah, they've got a good range of guests. And yeah, it's going to be in Raleigh, downtown Raleigh. And yeah, most events are in places like London. There was just recently Coin Summit, or you think of somewhere like San Francisco, which is a really big, Silicon Valley, California. Okay, maybe nobody's going to be thinking about New York for a while since they came out with the major bit license regulation. So I think they're pretty much out
Correct.
for now. Texas is really
For now.
pretty open-minded lately. The government there has openly said they're okay with cryptocurrencies. But okay, so now we're going to see what's up with the Southeast, North Carolina, South Carolina, Southeast, and okay, so I was looking at the list here, and we've got an interesting guest. We got Edmund Moy, 38th Director of the United States Mint. Why don't you just tell us quickly how you guys hooked up with him and yeah, how you came up with that? Because I mean, of course, I think that's really interesting because the Mint. Uh, some people might think, okay, U.S. Mint, that's part of like fiat money and all that kind of stuff. But I think someone that
Sure.
when I don't, I've never talked to him. I haven't even done a lot of research. I just followed him on Twitter, and he's got some pretty interesting commentary so far. But someone maybe that works at the Mint has some kind of ideas about what currency and what money is about, and I think he understands what this is all about, and that's probably why he's interested. What's your impression so far?
You said beautifully, Theo. For us, the creation of the idea of having this event, why we're having it, where we're having it, is all relative to why we would have wanted to bring someone like Edmund Moy to this event. Um, as I've stated before, our goal is to really try to bring together a very wide spectrum of experts, analysts, enthusiasts, all under the same roof. We want to do it in a market like Raleigh, Durham, that really I think encompasses a lot of what the future of Bitcoin is about. In the same fashion, someone like Edmund Moy, who was again coming from a very background with respect to his position as the 38th director of the U.S. Mint, but certainly a prestigious position, who is certainly feels that there is a very firm and solid place for cryptocurrency future. And I don't want to quote him directly, but paraphrasing to the extent that it's about time banks got competition. And as a serial entrepreneur, as a business owner, I'm very enthusiastic about competition. Uh, when we're talking about Bitcoin, and when we're also talking about promotion of the industry or the movement of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. So the reason we're having the event when we're having it, where we're having it, and the collaboration of the participants in the event, like Edmund Moy, really are all a part of work. We want to promote this in areas that is not currently promoted. And if there's an interesting thing I've realized, I'm not a expert on Bitcoin. I don't claim to be. I'm an enthusiast. I'm passionate about seeing what the future may hold and how it helps small businesses like myself and how it could lead to great things around nonprofits. I just spoke with one of the key officials of one of our charity partners, an organization called Jobs for Life. It's a fantastic organization who we will be supporting, and they'll be our charity sponsor. And the key element of our discussion was there are so many unopened doors. Are we able to do certain things to kind of facilitate the opening of those doors, to facilitate those discussions? And that is our effort. That is our goal behind all of this. And this notion that I've kind of learned and kind of seen is that there's a degree of exclusivity within the Bitcoin community.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if it's deliberate, but it exists, and I believe that it sort of hinders its progress in a positive direction. And I think we have to open the doors of the discussion. Some of the people, very smart, very intelligent people that I spoke to, seem to kind of be excited about the fact that they were the only ones that really knew about Bitcoin, and everybody else in the room was just kind of oblivious to its existence. That's sort of funny at first, but if you really want to promote something, you have to get it in to the single mothers out there, the soccer moms, if you will, or the small business owners.
Right.
They all have to become aware of it. Synergistically, they have to kind of figure out how they can involve themselves in it. From a fundraising standpoint, it could be the business that wants to open up a second store or
Right.
expand their business. They want to use crowdfunding in the Bitcoin community to try to
Yeah.
facilitate that, or maybe someone that has a great idea, but having my background in the banking world, I mean, I can tell you, I've been in different environments where it becomes impossible to go through the traditional process of borrowing money to build a
Yeah.
business. You have to go through so many
Definitely.
steps.
Yeah.
All those
Definitely.
reasons.
Yeah. Definitely. I see what you're saying exactly. You see that it's not possible for everyone to get a loan, or you can't raise money for all things. The banks just aren't going to give you a loan for some things. They're just going to, as soon as you walk in or as soon as you say a few key words, it's rejection totally. And I
Yeah.
noticed I was going through the list, and I think it's hold on, I think it's at the bottom. It's in maybe a newer guy. I'm trying to figure out his name. I think it's called Ground Floor. Okay, here it is. Yeah, Ground Floor, and it's some kind of it's also like a crowdfunding thing. Can you tell
Mhm.
us about that? Are you familiar with that company?
I
Brian
think you're
Daly is his name, I
Brian
think.
Daly,
Yeah.
correct. Brian, and I believe we have two speakers. I don't have it in front of me, and there's
Yeah,
a Nick
there's also Nick,
Vergara.
co-founder, and Brian, CEO, Ground Floor.
Correct. My recollection, again, I have it right in front of me, but both of these gentlemen, obviously, we welcome excitedly to the event. They both have had an experience within our immediate community, as well as various places, including Silicon Valley. I believe Brian has an experience and background in Silicon Valley, as well as Europe. I think he was in London, if my memory serves me correctly, and I think he had worked in various wireless backgrounds, wireless cell phone carriers. And I think his interest is with respect to, as you stated, I think crowdfunding and how to kind of create the discussion around the Bitcoin movement and whether or not it facilitates the basis to kind of promote crowdfunding on a much larger scale than perhaps so far has been done. We actually have at the event, as you probably know, one of our second lead presenters next to Edmund Moyne is Adam Draper. And
Yeah.
Adam Draper is going to be, I mean, he's the son of Tim Draper, of course, very, very well-known venture capitalist and technology investor, going back to the Hotmail days and one of the earlier investors in Skype. And Adam is just fantastic. We're so blessed to have him. But part of his discussion, part of his contribution to our event, along with the ground floor guys, we are going to be putting together, and all the details have been essentially created, but a panel, a fireside chat on the venture capital slash crowdfunding movement. So the participants are going to have the opportunity to really hear from someone like Adam on what the of future direction of this is. Now, I'll tell you, interestingly enough, there is legislation in North Carolina right now that is being prepared, I guess is probably a proper
Difficult.
way to say it. It's being prepared to uh, essentially allow for and facilitate crowdfunding within the state boundaries and borders. And that is happening literally as we speak. So we're very optimistic. We
Yeah.
don't know what that's going to look like, and we feel that perhaps even by the date of our event, there will be some sort of a decisive direction on where it's going to go. But we, I can't tell you too much more about the ground floor guys,
Okay.
right off the top of my head. But I know their background. I know that they're very well spoken and have a lot of experience behind them. But
Yeah.
the discussion is certainly going to be a part of our agenda.
Okay, it sounds interesting what they have on their site. I won't bring it up now because I was having some technical problems, but I mean it just says with the banks, you already know what you're getting. Take control of your financing your next project, and they're really it looks like on the ground floor the whole thing is more about houses and and land and doing projects like that. And I mean, yeah, I'm really curious to see. I haven't had time to really go over the website, but I'm really curious what they have to say and what they're going to talk about, because a lot of times what I see, which is not always bad, but what I see is a lot of talk about tech stuff. People have got apps,
Mhm.
or they've got Bitcoin ATMs, and they've got or
Sure.
exchanges or escrow or all that stuff, and all that stuff is good, and you need that too. But I think
Absolutely.
I was really interested and really happy to see that they're into Bitcoin, and they're doing this crowdfunding for building houses and doing construction and stuff. That's really a real
Sure.
interesting development to build out the whole, potentially to build out the whole crypto economy, so we don't have to worry about always switching out to fiat or whatever. So it's really building. It's building literally because it's a construction
Right.
business.
There's so much.
But
There's so much untapped potential there, Theo. There's so many
mm,
ancillary services and sub industries that are not even currently being pursued, and certainly real estate and construction. There's just so much potential there. Interestingly enough, I don't want to digress, but I'll just share with you. Dan,
okay.
my partner Dan Spooler, and I don't have a technology background. I've been
Hmm.
involved in various businesses. And again, a very wide spectrum of different businesses, and Dan actually works for the state government, and but both of us are extremely enthusiastic about the future of Bitcoin. And it was interesting to us because we have lots of friends within the community, Bitcoin community, that are way smarter than we are, and who understand the technology side of it better than we do. But one of them said to us in our earlier discussions when we've met with them, they said, we always wanted to have an event like this here, in North Carolina, representing North and South Carolina. And I said to them, I said, why do you never do it? And he said, well, I figured somebody else would do it. And the reality is,
Okay.
like, it sort of takes the industry, this movement really takes needs to take a collaborative approach. I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm a risk taker. And so to hold an event like this and to bring these minds and ideas together, really it takes someone like, I think myself and, um,
It's okay. Go on and take
is
care
that
of
on my
that.
end? Oh, excuse
Yeah,
me.
that's on your end. It's okay.
Okay, I just realized what it was. I beg your pardon.
No problem. It's okay.
Um, but it sort of takes maybe an entrepreneur working with someone that's very savvy and understanding of the technology side of it, and then someone that understands marketing. I mean, it's really a collaborative approach that I think really build this movement, to build this industry to where it needs to go. And so it took us a couple of local guys who have business experience, who have fundraising experience, who have other different experiences, working in collaboration with some of our uh, uh, tech savvy friends to promote and build an event like this. The point I'm making essentially is that uh, not only is there so much untapped potential so far that needs to be examined, and it needs to be examined in these sort of settings and beyond, but that it really does take a collaborative approach to, I think, build a movement to where it needs to go. And there's a place for everyone. There's a place for the communicator. There's a place for the innovator. There's a place for the business person, and there's a place for the dreamer.
Yeah.
And we are putting all that together, I believe, in this sort of an event to demonstrate what that potential really is.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. I also, because I mean, yeah, it's a pretty um wide. I mean, I already said it's a wide range, but yeah. Okay. You've also got. I also noticed Jeff Bierwick is on the list of speakers. Um,
Yeah, Jeff. I've known
and
Jeff for a little while. Yeah,
mhm. Okay. Yeah. So
I've known Jeff for a little while. Yeah, yeah.
okay. Great. Yeah.
Please.
I think that's a really. So also, okay. I noticed. I was going through the schedule, and you also are doing. Here we have it. Merchant workshop. So you're going to try to invite some local and regional merchants to participate in understanding the benefits of incorporating Bitcoin in their business. So basically, this is going to be a kind of like a real hands-on how-to, or just kind of like an introduction to Bitcoin and why should I use it as a merchant, or a little bit of both? What's that all about? And who's do you know
I think
who's gonna do that? Who's gonna do this workshop?
The workshop is going to be sponsored by BitPay.
Okay,
That's one of our strategic alliances. Obviously, everyone knows
got it.
BitPay, and we're proud to have them on board. We met with them on various occasions to try to see how we can facilitate this, and we want this to be a demonstration. We don't want it to be just talking about the benefits. There's enough of them out there now circulating. We want to demonstrate how it can. We want to invite participants in the merchant community that are not accepting Bitcoin, and who gladly welcome them if they're skeptical. And we want to kind of demonstrate, if you will, how it would work to better them. There's a great example locally in Durham, North Carolina. The area is commonly referred to as Raleigh-Durham, and Durham is about 20 minutes and is a hub of essentially a lot of medical. There's Duke there. Chapel Hill is very near Duke. UNC Chapel, of course, another big major university. And essentially what we wanted to do with this is there's a bakery, and we want to demonstrate to businesses like this. There's a bakery that accepts Bitcoin, and it's Rise
Okay.
Bakery, and it's a wonderful little establishment. They do biscuits and donuts and that sort of thing.
Oh,
And
great.
but oh yeah, it's fantastic stuff. But he stated that just sheerly off of his transactional fees costs, he's looking to save $20,000 to $30,000 a year. Now,
Wow.
for a multi-billion-dollar industry, that's nothing. A small business, a local community business, that's a lot of money. That's the ability to hire another person, or
Yeah.
that's the ability to hire that upgraded that oven. It's very
So,
little money. It's
so
very
people are
real
really,
savings.
so he's really doing. People are really using Bitcoin. Is that like, is that these college students from Duke, or who's buying biscuit? Can I get a cheese biscuit with Bitcoin at his place, or what? I'm
You
gonna.
can get a cheese biscuit.
Okay.
Yes, you can. You
Okay.
can get a cheese biscuit at his place. Yep, there's Rise Bakery.
Okay. Here it is. Yeah.
And again, it's a small business. It's
Mm.
nothing large about it, nothing extensive about it. It's just a good small business, locally run, locally owned, and there's a Bitcoin sign at the bottom there.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. I noticed it. Yeah.
We have another relationship with a dentist, a local dentist that accepts Bitcoin.
Mm.
Um,
Wow. It's
you
really
know,
cheap
it
too.
is it is
It's good. Sounds really good, and it's
it,
affordable. Yeah. It's
it,
great.
It is. It is. I mean, I've been there. It's fantastic, and quality is
Mm.
exceptional. But again, it's businesses like this. And, there's an interesting element here. It's a lot of businesses like his, I predict, are going to be the ones who really capture the moment here. And what I mean by that is the business owners or managers who are somewhat innovative in their thinking. They're thinking outside of the box. They're thinking into the future. They're not just looking at what am I going to do today to make my business successful? What am I going to do a month from now or a year from now? It's those types of businesses that I think are embracing this, and others are falling along. I mean, Dell announced this week, as you know, that they're
Yeah.
going to be accepting Bitcoin. There's various other businesses, of course, recently that made major announcements. Another local North Carolina business is a business by the name of Reed's Jewelers, a national chain jewelry store,
Yeah.
and they're accepting Bitcoin. And again, again, the spectrum is very wide here. It's not just technology. You've got medical services. You've got jewelers willing to accept Bitcoin to see. Partially, I'm willing to bet that they're
You got
partially looking to see where it's going to go.
it. There's a medical service that's accepting Bitcoin? What kind of is that in North? Is that in
It,
Raleigh Durham, or where is that?
it is. It isn't correct. It isn't Raleigh Durham. It's a dentist,
Oh, okay.
and he does accept Bitcoin. Yep.
That's rad, man.
And there's a limousine company that actually has a double-decker bus, a London-style double-decker bus. And I spoke with them recently. They were interested in participating at the event, and they're going to start accepting Bitcoin. I mean, it's just the momentum is building, and
Mhm.
the
So is that
snowball effect, I think, is
so
something.
is that double-decker bus part of these the big surprise that your guys are talking about on the website?
Yeah, we are we're going to incorporate that into. We have to. It's a double decker, and whenever you see one of those, I think especially in North Carolina, we're not used to those. So
No.
whenever you see one, we got to incorporate it. But There's several surprises that we're planning on. Not to give away all of them, but one of the things that I think is worth mentioning is we're putting together a Saturday night event that I think is going to be A, needed, and B, exceptionally enjoyable. And it's going to essentially be a debate on the future of Bitcoin. We're calling it the
Okay.
Great 2.0 debate. And
Okay. You're
to
gonna be
me,
on
for me
that? Is that
personally,
gonna be like? Is that gonna? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is that gonna be with Mastercoin on the panel, or who's gonna be on that panel?
Um, if you don't mind, I'm going to release that in the very near future because we're still waiting to get
Okay.
commitments on a couple of speakers, a couple of panelists on that, and we just
Okay.
want to keep that intact. But I can assure you, it's again, it's a wide range. There are going to be contributors to that, both from a technology side, certainly, which is necessary, but also from a regulation side. And we also are going to bring perhaps someone that has a keen amount of interest in, uh, or not interest, but influence in where the financial industry goes. And not it's not Edmund Moy, but we're courting some opportunities in terms of panelists there, and hasn't quite. Come to full fruition yet, but we know we're going to do it because we've heard a lot of interest in people wanting to see this sort of debate. I think it's going to again facilitate a lot of the discussions that need to be had in these sort of settings. These are the kinds of discussions that are had in offices and locker rooms at the gym and that sort of thing. But
Sure.
now it's going to be done in a formal fashion, and we certainly want to make that available so that people can watch it across the world to see how that discussion went. These are the same thoughts and concerns and interests that I think people all over the world have, and we're going to try to facilitate that discussion right at our event.
Okay. It sounds really good. So, yeah, I looked at the site. So I guess everyone is too late. If you get a ticket now, you missed the early bird, but you can still get tickets. And if you are a student, you can get a discount. And
Absolutely.
looks like there's going to be a hackathon. I know that
We
you said you're not a hack. I mean, you're not like a tech guy. But can you just tell us
Sure.
what's the deal with the hackathon? Mhm.
The hackathon is something we're putting the details to right now. That is something that we are working closely with Mastercoin on, and it was we wanted to do it, and we were not 100% certain that the event itself would be right setting. So we weren't sure if we were going to do it ahead of time or maybe do something afterwards. But we ultimately decided that we're going to have it in an adjacent room that we've gotten for the event. And let me just tell you that the Raleigh Convention Center is spectacular. It's a world-class facility. We have a ton of space. We're going to have two rooms simultaneously going. We're going to have another room that's going to facilitate those who want to, check their emails and have a work room. There's going to be a place where the media will be available. So we believe we've got a first-rate facility for this event. But the hackathon, if it does work out in its full detail the way we're putting it together, it will start on Friday morning, and it will essentially run essentially 26 hours into Saturday morning. So it will essentially culminate at the same time the other events going on. Our regular ticket purchasers at 275 have full access. They can participate in the hackathon if they want, or they can simply observe it as they need. There is a $50 charge to enter the hackathon to be a participant in it if you do not want to enter the rest of the event. And again, Mastercoin is working with us along with some of the other potential sponsors for it to put up some prize money, and some of the logistics we're still trying to work out with them. We're a little behind the eight ball on that. We wanted to be ahead of the curve, but we're just putting the final details together, and we're going to
Okay.
have a press release on it coming out within the next week about all the details. But
Okay. So,
we are excited if we can put it together. Yeah.
okay. So it's not going to be about hacking everyone's mobile phone and their Bitcoin wallets that's at the conference, right? Because that's like a real, big
Absolutely.
honeypot of like potential information. And really, there have been some people that were at some past events and they got hacked after because they weren't careful. And someone that was an asshole or whatever was like, okay, here's a big honeypot. Let's see whose email or whatever I can hack into that left their stuff open or did something. But I'm just kind of, I mean, everyone has to, do their own safety. But I think it's really interesting to have the hackathon there, and maybe that'll get people more aware of safety concerns that they need to be concerned about. Because I mean,
Absolutely.
it's a new thing to have so much value that you're responsible for. Everyone is responsible for keeping track of their own value, and that's a really new thing for most people. Are just used to giving their money and their value to the bank, and they'll deal with it. And now we've got to learn how to be responsible for it. And I think that hold on, I can't find. Someone's had a really good quote. Was Yeah, a lot of people say, yeah, if grandma can't do it, then it's too complicated. And then grandma's just gonna have to fucking learn it. You know what I mean?
That's
It's
right.
just gonna be. And people, I think that we can manage to teach our grandmas and grandpas how to do this stuff. It's not that it is
It's not.
complex, but it's just complex because you usually didn't take responsibility for a lot of these things, and now you have to think about it. You know what I mean?
Excellent point you brought it to. Theo, there's a couple of things that I like to mention. Uh, for example, my parents cannot use a remote control if their life depended on it.
Yeah.
But
No.
I
Mm.
sincerely believe to Bitcoin, and I've already explained it to my parents. They're nearing 80 now, but they've embraced it. They've understood what it is. And interestingly enough, I can't do the same thing with the remote control. I've tried many times, but in a few brief discussions, they've understood the baseline of what Bitcoin and the Bitcoin movement, the cryptocurrency movement is. So I think we have the ability to demonstrate that it is feasible to get it in front of the old and young alike in an efficient manner for them to be able to embrace it. The
Sure.
second thing, it really does make things complex. I mean, let's think about technology. Let's think about regulation. We talk about all the difficulty of opening a business and all the steps you have to go through, especially in the U.S. Really, that's what really makes things complex. And what's amazing about the Bitcoin movement so far is it is essentially forcing the regulatory side of things to follow it, not block it, because it's essentially reached a certain degree of critical mass. And so it's
Mm.
done that on its own. And innovators and entrepreneurs and the technology community have already started preemptively without any say so by the governments of their respective countries to say, well, you have to do it that way. And of course, that's going to happen to some degree. We can't eliminate all that, but it's the movement is doing it on its own, and that's a beautiful thing to see. That's
Sure.
the type of freedom that we're talking about. And so I believe that there's a way to keep the cryptocurrency movement, Bitcoin, simple enough because it's being self-regulated, it's being self-driven and self-built and innovated, so that it's all coming from the interior. It's coming from people like you and others who are talking about it and creating businesses around it. And for that reason, I think it's going to stay simple enough, and I hope it stays simple enough to really make it a life-changing global experience.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, and I think that yeah, you also had some good points. I totally agree with you. Okay, well, I think that let's wind this up. You've got I can't talk about all the people coming because there's really a ton, but I noticed Jason King from Scenes Outpost, Phil Champagne, author of Book of Satoshi, Crypto College. I mean, it's really a lot of people now. And with the hackathon and this what do you call it? Bitcoin 2.0, future of Bitcoin debate. It's going to be on. Is that like a
Yeah,
dinner thing that you were talking about on Saturday? Yeah.
yeah, correct. That's going to be a post-dinner kind of a culmination event that's going to after dinner, and everybody's really kind of in a happy place, and they've had their food. This is kind of the boxing match of the night. Hey, we may even have there with all due respect. I don't mean to sound sexist in any way, but I mean we really want to dress this up. It's going to be a heated, passionate discussion. And we want to really promote it in a way that hopefully awakens a lot of the people who are asking some of these questions. But a few of the others, I mean, there's a lot of Carol Van Cleef, who has an incredible resume. She has represented a variety of financial service companies. She's uh, worked directly with the General Accounting Office here in the United States. I mean, she's incredible. She's going to be part of that regulatory discussion. Shannon Code, who's actually who's the head of security for Mastercoin. So we talked about the security side of the discussion.
Yeah.
He is going to be chiming in on the security. We have others that are going to be talking about the security issue and how to mitigate the security risk and also how to
Mm.
promote wholesome
Is
and positive aspects of
is
Bitcoin.
that his real name, Shannon Code, or is that like a pseudonym?
I don't know. It's an interesting question.
Okay.
It works well, doesn't it? Though I agree
Yeah,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But
Right. Mm.
certainly it's very diverse. I will tell you, the early bird. You mentioned the ticket prices, but we are planning a dinner event that in itself is going to be spectacular. We do have a social event Friday night, so for the entrance fee, you're certainly going to be entertained.
Okay.
Also, I would be remiss if I didn't say we are. If there's a business a promoter of some sort that wants to be involved in the business, we are more than comfortable putting a custom type of a sponsorship together them at price range. I want to welcome everybody across the spectrum of the event. If you're a merchant or business manager, you want to participate in the merchant workshop, it is free entry to the merchant workshop. So we definitely want to encourage that. And we will also group discounts. I mean, if there's a group that wants to bring 15, 20 people at one time, we'll gladly work with you to try to find a point. But
Okay.
we're willing to do whatever we can to showcase that the event is going to be worth attending.
Okay, that sounds good. So you got regular tickets, you got group discount. If you're a merchant, you can get in free and learn about Bitcoin to the workshop, to the merchant workshop. Uh, and if you buy a regular ticket, then you get to go to the events, the dinner, and all that. So that sounds pretty cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Cryptolina.com is the website, everybody, and yeah, thanks a lot for taking your time out and doing this interview.
It's my pleasure, Thea. I mean, you've given us a platform. We appreciate it tremendously, and thanks again for your time.
Okay. Bye, everybody.